Hey guys, it's Intuitive 144. I am a psychic medium along with being a physical medium. All right. I'm not a tarot reader, not a palm reader. I just look at you and I'm able to receive messages from you. Okay. Let's tap into, well, it's going to be two videos. One is going to be about, an energetic tapping on this enslaved family. And then the other video is going to be about, well, you'll see. It's called alligator alligator bait. All right, so let's jump in. So I meditated on their energy. When I say I meditated on their energy, I actually laid down, and this is what I picked up on, all right? So Spirit said traumatized times 3, all right? They kept saying traumatized, 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 then times 3. Heavy emphasis on the number 3. The number 3 is very significant and specific in this story and this vision and in this reading because there are 3 individuals in this picture. Now, I don't know if it's the psychic in me, but they look traumatized physically and also energetically. Now, there's something with this masculine beating on his woman. I'm starting to believe people. So, oh my God, I'm reading it like I'm reading it. Okay, no. But there was something with this masculine beating on this woman, all right? Now, in the vision, I thought of like how serial killers or just killers say, oh, I was possessed. I don't even remember Kill, unaliving this person, okay? So I'm starting to believe people when they say they had an outer body experience, okay? Because when I tapped into his energy, they allowed me to see and feel that he was in a possessive state as, every time he beat on his woman, okay? And now they are allowing me to see and feel that he was beat on by his owners. And I hate to say the word owners, but realistically speaking, that is what the terms were back then, right? Now, let's transfer out of that energy and that message. Spirit showed me a vision of him feeling like he was being watched. Now, I don't know what kind of abuse he went through specifically. Oh, I'm cold. I don't know what kind of abuse he went through specifically. However, I'm sensing mental abuse and physical abuse. Now, however many times he was hit, I'm not sure how many times he was hit. I'm not sure why they hit him. I'm not sure where they hit him. I'm not sure how many times they hit him. I think I said that. I'm not sure, but he was beat on by his owners, okay? And I see and feel that as he was beat on, or every time they kept beating him, his mental state worsened and worsened. And so I wrote, whatever was done to him physically caused a mental impact, and they are allowing me to see and feel that he became mentally deranged because of these beatings. Let me just scroll down. Now, there's something with him snapping in and out of consciousness. It keeps feeling like when he was out of his body, a spirit, a Jezebel spirit entered into his body, okay? And this was during the times that he would beat on his woman, okay? Or not even just that, whenever, it just feels like he was in and out of himself, if that makes sense, okay? Now, he was always made to feel cautious of things that necessarily weren't there. Now, as someone, like myself, who sees visions and see things in my room that aren't, like, I'm aware that they aren't there. Like, there was one time where I'm like, yo, there's a bat flying in my room. And then I looked again and it wasn't there. Okay, and anyways, bat signal, like for me, Spirit was trying to say chaos was headed towards me. And it actually, unfortunately, a situation happened and it caused a lot of chaos in my life, whatever. Now, let's just run that back. As someone who sees visions and see things that aren't necessarily there, they allowed me to see that if I were to see a squirrel in my room that wasn't there, instead of him seeing a squirrel, he would see a mini whale. Okay, so I would see small things and he would see humongous things, okay? And being that he didn't know whether this was real or not, he beat his woman out of fear and out of anger because of this, okay? And I will say, as someone who has experienced, I hear voice. People think this shit is a joke for me, honestly, with me hearing spirits, but as someone who keeps hearing voices sometimes where I'm hearing arguing in the back. I'm like, this is too much, this is too much, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it's them, I don't know if it's you, and you're just pissing me off because I'm just trying to focus on just being, and this background noise is just upsetting me. So I don't want to say I understand why he did that, but in terms of freaking out because of just what he was going through internally, mentally, I get it as someone who experiences things like that, you know. But unfortunately, being that he couldn't tell if this was a reality or not, he beat his woman out of fear and out of anger behind this. Now, this is why I will always believe no one can try to manipulate me, no one can try to gaslight me into thinking that energy does not transfer. Energy literally does not die, it goes to the next, okay? Because what he was made to feel like with his owners doing what they did to him, he passed down to his wife, and his wife and him passed down to their daughter, okay, the kid. All right, now, Spirit showed me a vision of the wife. Now we're talking about the wife. Spirit showed me a vision of the wife in a rocking chair, and it's 3 in the morning. The baby is asleep. I don't know why she decided to get out of her bed, get in the rocking chair, and rock this baby back and forth while the baby is sleeping. But in the vision, it's just very sinister like too. She's sitting in a rocking chair, the baby is asleep, and she's rocking the baby back. Well, she's rocking her and the baby back and forth, right? She's rocking her daughter back and forth to sleep. She, however, is not rocking the baby. Something is like making her rock this baby. It's not her. It felt like a spirit entered her, because just her energy, it just gave very much possessed. Like she wasn't really blinking, she was staring into a trance. It was just very sinister for me, and I don't like stuff like that. And honestly, I was going to call it a day with this video, because I don't like stuff like that, okay? As someone that actually hears things, I do not like stuff like that. But I was able to, you know, push through, right? And so she's also, like, as I was saying with her husband, right, they both slip in and out of consciousness, okay? Now, energetically, I sense that the daughter was protected in terms of her not being beaten, right? You know, but I do believe as she got older, you know, being that energy transfers, I do believe that she could have picked up on some kind of mental illness, okay, from her mother and her father. Now, let's go back into the masculine. Spirit showed me a vision of this masculine overworking himself for nothing. And he keeps like doing something, and he knows he's not going to get anything out of it. Now, I keep feeling like he was a hardworking man, and this man was underpaid, okay? They showed me a vision of him expecting to get paid $2 every week. But when it's time for him to get paid, they only give him 75 cents. All right. Now, in this vision, this masculine is expecting his $2 every week just for him to be disappointed every week and only receiving 75 cents. Then in the vision becomes more clear, and I'm able to see that this man's eyes was watering up. Okay. Now, I got to put the timestamp because I want you guys to see. So let's do 350. All right, 351. All right, or 851. I don't know how long. 951. I'll figure it out because somebody called me. I'll figure it out. But I'm going to insert a picture, and that's what his eyes looked like. Okay, so it was something with his eyes watering up in a strange bubble-like form. Okay, now here's what I think the bubble means. Okay, since you know, the spirits don't really operate in a human way, and I have to be the one to think for them, if that makes sense. I think this bubble, like him crying, but the tears aren't releasing, like it forms into a bubble. I sense that he wasn't able to cry, or I don't feel like he was or maybe he was a crybaby, but I don't sense that he was able to cry, which is why good night. Which is why the tears didn't fall. He didn't release because he wasn't able to cry, okay? Now, in this vision, I cried for him. You know, I be crying. I'm a crybaby, guys. But here's why it made me cry. It really hit me because it reminds me of generational trauma. You know, a lot of people brush this off, but it is, in fact, real, especially in the Black community. You know, back in the day, we weren't allowed to show happiness or sadness. We were just told to suck it up and keep working in the field, you know, no matter what. We weren't allowed to cry while we were getting raped. You know, we were just told take it and carry on with your day. You know, our great grandfathers were whipped, and they weren't allowed to express signs of pain. They weren't allowed to show that, oh my gosh, you beating me, this hurts, you know. Our great cousins were hanged or hung, whatever, even though I should know the difference. You know, and prior to them being hanged, they weren't allowed to show signs of them being scared, you know, to meet their death, okay? And that mentally, or I should say that mentality, it's still affecting a lot of black men and a lot of women. But I've noticed I hate to just signal out black men, but I've noticed it's affecting a lot of our black men today, okay? So many of them refuse to get the mental help that they need. They're out here walking around undiagnosed, thinking they're fine, thinking they don't need antidepressants, thinking they don't need therapy. It's like they were taught to bottle it all up, very similar to this enslaved man. They were taught to bottle it all up. Oh, it'll eventually go away. But the truth is, it only gets worse, okay? A lot of them end up hurting others, whether it's women or men, because they don't know how to express their emotions. They don't know how to say, hey, I'm hurt, or hey, this bothered me. You know, they were never taught that it's okay to cry. They were never taught to talk about their feelings. So instead, it comes out in anger and violence because that is all they know. Now, it's sad because it is a cycle that keeps repeating and repeating. And a lot of them don't even realize that they're stuck in it. That's why it's very important to talk about stuff like this, you know, break the silence and start healing. But anyways, let's go back to the enslaved family. Spirit, let's go back into the energy. Spirit allowed me to feel like this man, this enslaved man, lived most of his life in pain and agony. And that, unfortunately, being that unfortunately that was his energy and his reality, he rathered death. All right. I want to say thank you guys so much for the support. You guys help me in ways that you don't even know. You guys are my family. I now have support. I have a backbone. You guys are phenomenal. I thank God that I'm able to do stuff like this. I know I'm like, blah, 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 God. Like, sometimes I'm going to lie to you. I don't be feeling God because I'm like, why? Like, I'm just in so much. But shout out to God for allowing me to, I guess, hear voices and I guess be able to tap into, you know, what's important to me. You know, the greats, you know. Sorry, let me just scroll down. But I just think that you guys are so amazing and I'm so appreciative. And before I do my outro, I want to say stories like this are so important to me. You know, stories that you no longer know about because people rip these stories out of our history books. You know, some of these stories were purposely, oh, this girl keeps calling me. Stories, you know, like this were purposely ripped out of history books. They were purposely, you know, ripped out of history books that were burned by the KKK because they didn't like the fact that we were black owners. I mean, I can keep going on and on. So I'm just going to end it like this because my friend going to keep calling me and she about to get cursed out. Thank you guys for the support. I do have an Amazon wish list if you want to support my wish list. Thank you so much because I do need the help. But $40 for a picture reading, $72 for a 30-minute reading, and $144 for an hour, unless you want to take advantage of my Christmas special, which is $85 for an hour session with me. Thank you. Oh, and I'm going to be inserting my second video. It's called Alligator Bait. Bye. Hey. What's up? It's intuitive 144, blah, blah, blah. All right, $40 for a picture reading, $72 for a 30-minute reading, $144 for an hour. I'm not a tarot reader. I'm a psychic medium, not a tarot reader. I don't read palms, none of that. I just look at you. Enough about me, right? So I meditated on this picture and I was disturbed about it all, okay? Disclaimer, if you are easily triggered, please leave. And I received a comment saying I'm anti-white. I'm not anti-fucking white, okay? But if little old me could fucking tap into a stranger's energy, bitch, you best to believe I'm going to tap into Nat Turner's. Bitch, you best to believe I'm going to tap into Henry Brown the Box. Bitch, you best to believe I'm going to tap into motherfucking Harriet Tubman. Bitch, you best to believe I'm going to tap into John Brown. Bitch, you best to believe I'm going to tap into Abraham Lincoln, because that's what actually matters to me. But I'm not anti-white. And the fact that you calling me anti-white and you saying that you reported my video, that just shows the type of person you are. Okay. So I meditated on this picture, okay, and I was disturbed about it all. I asked Spirit to give me the truth and nothing but the truth. Not just regarding this picture, but the history of it and anything else they'd like to share. Spirit showed me a vision of the enslaved masters intentionally impregnating the enslaved women and then discarding the babies by giving it to animals, by throwing it in the woods, or by tossing it in swamps for the gators to feed on. Okay, let me just scroll down. I was also told that this was a form of punishment to the women and whoever would screw up in the circle. It kind of reminded me of, I used to play lacrosse and I used to have this one teammate, oh my God, Julia, girl. She would always talk back to the coach and everybody on the team would suffer the consequences. I remember we had to run 3 miles nonstop because Julia wanted to run her big ass mouth, okay? Now, I was also told that this was a form of punishment to the women, whether they didn't listen or if sometimes in the division they showed me, sometimes the babies showed signs of them being sick, or if the masters assumed that they looked a little bit off. Unfortunately, I seen a vision of the babies being tossed, okay? They also allowed me to see that some of the enslaved African Americans were skinned. And sometimes, oh my God, and sometimes their skin would be worn from the whites, by the whites, as a form of like a, what are they saying, public humiliation? I think they're saying public humiliation, or just like to like laugh at you, like, haha, I'm wearing your brother's skin. It's just I see why mental illness exists, you know. I see it, but they show me bodies, like the bodies were literally skinned, okay? We're literally skinned, okay? I know this video is only 4 minutes. That is what I received. I think it was very vital for me to talk about this because I remember reading about this and hearing about this. I thought it was fake. I thought this was just made up. But for them to give me some insight, I only meditated on this for about 10 minutes because it disturbed me. This was very important for me to hear. And I know this video is only 5 minutes, but maybe this could give you guys some insight. $40 for a picture reading.